Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming over to our social media booth. My name is Tony Spilde. I am the Director of Communications for Knife River. We are a very, very proud member of NRMCA and have been for several years. And just like Kelsey and Kristen did yesterday, I'd like to thank Greg and Malachy for brainstorming this event and coming up with something new to talk about social media in a different environment, maybe attract a different audience. And for those folks who are getting this on camera too, thank you for tuning in and joining us. Definitely appreciate that. I'd like to thank these two ladies in the audience too for getting us going with a really good conversation yesterday. So Kelsey and Kristen, thank you for doing that. Kelsey said something yesterday that really stuck out for me and struck me as, hey, this is actually really, really true. We're all type A personalities. We're all really, really competitive people who want to beat everybody at everything and put the best content out there, or we want to win the race. But this is a rising tide raises all ships kind of a situation for social media. We can go on and like Ozinga and share posts for the industry and talk about things that are going on with the industry, and that's going to help us all out. So if you're tuning in on the video, thank you for doing that. And if you're just starting with social media, just starting to think about how it's going, or you want to get to that next level, I really, really encourage everyone to join the social media task force, or at least ask questions. Get a hold of Greg Lewis, and he'll help you out with getting involved in the social media task force. I think that's a really good way to share content and share ideas. Welcome to our Knife River personalities. Thank you for joining us. I'm glad we had just enough seats left for you guys to join today. So I'll get started with where we are in social media. I was going to do a show of hands about what companies are involved in social and where you are, but I know all of you now, and so I think we can kind of skip that. So I'm going to talk about what's been working for Knife River. We've been on social media, various channels, for 10, 12 years, something like that. But we weren't taking it very seriously. We didn't realize the real tool that it was and that it is, and that it's continuing to evolve to be until more recently. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that and how we got going and the steps that have been successful for us. Everybody's a little bit different, but here's what's worked for us. So I'm going to talk about it in 3 steps. Step 1, what has worked for us and what I recommend for everyone to do is set some goals. Like anything else you want to accomplish in life, you got to know what the heck it is. And so for us, that is understanding who we are and who we want to portray ourselves as and who we aren't. So we're not Nike trying to sell shoes. We're not a retail business. We're not even really on social media trying to sell our services. We are trying to sell our brand, about who we are. So goal number 1 for us is brand awareness, talking about who we are as a company. And I'm going to talk in a second about what specifically that means. But I just want to point out that our audience does not care about our sales goals, right? They care about how we make them feel and what, for us, what Knife River, what the orange and white makes them feel in our communities. So brand awareness is a big deal. I saw a lot of it and continue to see a lot of it in this room here and at our event yesterday. We'll see it tonight too, with logos, people proudly wearing their Ozinga hats. Saw a lot of those yesterday. Saw Lauren Concrete yesterday for the first time. I like your logo. So I think that this is part of brand awareness for sure, right? Is getting our brand out there. This is definitely part of it. These are our moving billboards, right? We want to look good in our communities, and our drivers are really awesome at helping us making us look good in our communities. So this is a wonderful weekend for them to showcase our drivers. But that's only part of it. What really resonates for us in terms of brand awareness for Knife River is our core values, talking about who we are. We have made a really conscious decision and a conscious effort to lay bare our core values. And for us, that's people, safety, quality, and environment. And so we will post a lot about that. This is not about selling concrete. This is about promoting our brand and who we are, with the goal of communicating that to our brand audience, to our general audience, and it's constant recruiting too. This is who we are. We want to attract people who believe in the same things that we believe in. That's going to help us build the strongest team that we can. So we post a lot about that, and most of our posts feature our team members. So we refer to employees at our company as team members, and team recognition is our second goal. We want to recognize those folks who really make Knife River the company that we are, the business that we are. So we will absolutely 100% post about our quarterly earnings. We will talk about a big job that we landed. But what gets the most traction for us by far is talking about our team. I've been in communications for 20 years, and before that I was a journalist. I like telling stories, and the number one reason I like telling stories is because people want to hear them. They want to hear about the people behind what's going on. They don't care as much about your financials as they care about the people who are making it happen. And so for us, in that goal of team recognition and talking about our team, it's really a concerted effort to talk about the people behind the scenes, what's going on. Goal number 3 is building our bank of goodwill. So we operate in a lot of different communities, just like all of you do, and we want to be directly involved in the betterment of our communities. That absolutely means providing concrete, building the foundations, building the roads, building the buildings in our communities, for sure. It definitely means that. But it also means coaching T-ball and being on the city council and doing the things that matter in our communities to really be a part of the fabric of our communities where we operate. So we want to talk about those things where we're doing that to help everybody know, like, wherever Knife River is, that's our hometown. That's where our folks in that area live and work and play. So, number 1 step is setting goals. For us, that's brand awareness, team recognition, and community goodwill, which we think helps drive user engagement and recruiting. So, step 1 is goals. Step 2 is you got to have a process to make all this happen, because social media never ever stops, it never ever sleeps. It needs content all the time. Content on social media is king. If you do nothing else with it, nothing else at all, make good content, make good compelling content. So that can mean all kinds of different things. We'll talk about some. Kelsey and Kristen did a really nice job talking about some of the posts that they had. I'll show you in a little bit what's resonated for us. But we have a plan. We have to have a strategy, and when we're talking about our goals, this is how we get there. So we average 18 to 24 posts a month, and we have them come out on a regular cadence. We will put some one-off posts, and I'm going to tell you how that's a bad idea here in just a second. We'll put some things out there every once in a while that we hadn't planned for, that we need to get out there. But for the most part, we have a calendar, we know what's going on. Whether it's a holiday coming up that we want to talk about, something special going on, or just our general recruiting posts, we know about a month and a half to 2 months out ahead of time what's going to come on. And so this is absolutely critical for us when we're planning to feed that hungry beast, to have the content in there that we know that is going to happen. And this isn't a one-person show by any stretch of the imagination. So all of our companies, whether you're an NRMCA member or not, we're all different sizes, we have all different kinds of structures. For us, this is how it works. We're split into regions, and we have asked people in our various regions to help us drive content. This is one of the ways. I'll talk about another way here in just a second. But these folks are in charge of going out and beating the bushes and saying, hey, you've got your finger on the pulse of your region, what's going on? What's going to work? And so they'll send things back into this calendar, and we'll get the art generated for it, and we'll schedule it out, and I will proofread, and every single one comes through me, and I approve it before it goes out the door. But this team is the one that's collecting all that information. Here's the type of posts that resonate with us, and Maliki, I'm not sure do we share the presentation with the folks who are on the video? Awesome, okay. So what works for us, again, is focusing on our team members. That's absolutely the number one thing that resonates and gets clicks and likes and engagement for us, and helps us with our following and our like campaign. And honestly, it's focusing on our female drivers. That's absolutely huge. And then kids playing with Tonka trucks, right? Like our truck drivers, for sure, playing in the sandbox, playing with the big toys. That gets a lot of focus for us. Community culture and project highlights. And just really quickly, I don't think anybody posts anything on social anymore without graphics, without photos, without videos. If you're doing it, stop doing it. For us, these are just our internal metrics, but we have 650% higher engagement if we're posting something on there that's trying to capture your eyeballs, right? This is the billboard on the highway where you've got 1 second to capture attention, right? So you need to have some good, back to the crown and the compelling content, you need to have something good that's going to catch people's eyes. So this for us is our compelling content. These are our billboards focusing on our team, and this is what works for us. But we've got another trick up our sleeve. So in addition to having people send us ideas for what would be good social media content, about 5 years ago, we launched an app at our company called the Life at Knife. We have, probably like some of your companies, a really deskless remote workforce where out of our 6,000 or so team members, 4,000 don't have email. So they're not going to see what's coming in via email. They're not hanging out in an office other than coming in and getting the safety briefings, the toolbox talks, and those kind of things. So we thought, hey, there's a way to democratize communications in our company, and it's through the phone. And so we've got an app, like I said, called the Life at Knife, where just about everybody has it. We've got 90% adoption at our company in the states that have the app. A way for us to generate content both internally. It works just like social media. There's a news feed, but there's also at the top some toolboxes for information, and that helps drive engagement out there. They can find out, when am I supposed to report to work tomorrow? What's my paycheck? I want to get direct deposit. That's where the form is. And so we're putting tools out there that people really need and really want. They go out there for those tools and they see our communication in our news feed. And everybody who has the app has the ability to push the little plus button that you can't see there, but you can see here, and send in a post. And it goes into a little holding area, and we assign the post to the region where it's meant to be going, and boom, it's out there, and they can talk about themselves. That is important for talking about what's going on in the company, but talking about what's going on in the company in not my voice and not the Knife River voice, but in a really authentic voice of the people who are doing everything, the people who we want to focus on. So they have got the ability to talk about what they want to talk about. And that helps us with the authenticity, like I said, content amplification, to talk about in a second. So what they're talking about, we can share on our social channels. So going back to social media, what goes onto the app can also go onto social. So this has been a great content generator for us. Hey, this post would be really, really good if we share this with a wider audience than just internal. And so that really helps drive engagement for us, but it also amplifies the content that we have in a real voice that isn't Knife River telling you how good Knife River is or how something is going on. It's real people in their real voice talking about it. So this has been absolutely critical for us in helping to keep our content fresh with actually good, meaningful content. We've got posts from all over the place. Each one of our regions has the app. So again, step one was set goals. Step two is define your process. Everybody's process is probably a little bit different, and it should be. It needs to make sense for you and for what's going on in your business. But for us, it's find the contributors. You can't do it by yourself, well, with maybe one exception. Okay, that's good. So you need help, right? And so for us, if it was all just in one person's voice, you're going to be hearing one perspective, and that's not healthy. So you need to establish your content creators, build the calendar. So I'm an organized person. I know what has to be going on, A plus B plus C, so I know when it's going to happen. You have to have that. And then 3 is be authentic and be real. I think that both Kelsey and Kristen talked about this yesterday. It needs to be in a conversational tone. There's some things for us when we have a really important safety message that, okay, that needs to be said in some way that's maybe a little bit different. But for the most part, it needs to ring true, like you're having a conversation with somebody here at Concrete Works. You're talking about your company. So be authentic with it. And a really good way to do that is to get content from the people who are actually doing the work. That really helps drive authenticity. Okay, last step. You got to measure it, right? So, okay, we need to know what's working. We need to know what isn't working so we don't do any more of that. And what is working, let's double and triple down on it. So our first step here within measuring it is create campaigns. One-offs generally do not make any sense. Everything should have a purpose. You need to constantly have a goal in mind with your communications, so even if it might not quite seem like it, everything is going the same direction. You're talking about big issues, big things. There's multiple components of those things, but I really encourage everyone to have campaigns in mind and then to build on those campaigns. So internally, here's what our goals are. These are the campaigns that we're currently running on our social channels. One, you got to get your audience, and so we've got a follower and page like campaign. Like I said when I started, we have been doing this for a long time. We haven't been doing it well for a long time. So 2 years ago, we really sat down and refocused on how can we do a better job of engaging our audience? What can we do to get our brand out there? Which is step number 2, influencing your audience. So once you capture people who are coming and seeing your content, how do you put yourself out there and talk about yourself and the brand? We talked about that already. And then step number 3 really is constantly running through all of these by talking about our core values, who we are, by talking about how we're involved in the community. We are constantly trying to recruit. And measure your campaigns. So here's what I was talking about 2 years ago, here's where we are today. We've had really good growth because we've been focusing on growth and we've been measuring it and we've been tracking where people are. We've got step 2, brand awareness campaigns. This one has, for us, this is a viral post, right? So we've only had 15,000 followers. We're going to continue to grow though, so going from 4 to 15 was huge. We're going to be at 30 in the next 2 years. And posts like this totally resonate. This is for us viral, getting over 1 million people reached to see this, right? And it's just a guy talking about, hey, this company buys us the toys that we need to do our job, and this is really cool. And everybody liked watching it. We've got campaigns about our core values, right? And cool jobs that we do. But really the campaigns that we track are our recruiting campaigns. This is where our HR teams come to us or our department heads come to us and say, we are having needs in this area and traditional media is not helping us out. We're not getting the people that we need to come into the door. And so we will say, okay, tell us, like, why is this job important to the company? What is it specifically about it? Well, here's the job description. No, that doesn't work. Tell me why we can't live without this job. And so we'll then create a short video about that position, highlight the things that aren't, here's your duties as assigned. It's like, what would make this, you want to put on a cape and come to work for us and do this job. And so we track all of these campaigns. Some of them aren't as successful as we want them to be. Some of them are really successful, and we can get ready-mix drivers. We hired 12 drivers in Texas in 2023 to help them fill for $800. And the amount of spend we put on boosting those posts was $800 to get 12 drivers. And we know that they came in because they checked on their application that they saw us on social media. So we know that this is effective. So this video, we're going to do more of those videos, right? And so that will help us. Ditto for, we filled this position. This one was one in our corporate office in Bismarck for $385. We got not just one seat filled, but 2. We actually had 2 candidates come in and like, oh, shoot, we can't pick one of you. We're going to create another position because you're really good too. So it really does help drive the bus for us in terms of recruiting, absolutely. And then this is just one single slide. When you find out what's working for you, do it again and do it over and beat it into the ground. And then when it's not working anymore, change course and you'll find out quickly what resonates and what doesn't resonate because the numbers are right there. Okay, so goal number 3 or step number 3, measure what you do. Create campaigns, measure how effective they are, and then repeat what works. And then that's going to help you establish your consistent audience. So that's it, guys. Create goals, generate content, and measure results. That's our 3 steps to what's been successful for us. Wow. Thank you. Questions from the audience?
Yes, and for the folks viewing the video itself, the question that I have for you, and we asked this yesterday, is you've got a very clearly articulated and implemented plan for Knife River as a concrete producer. Can you talk a little bit about how you view the distinction between what Knife River is doing as a brand versus the concrete industry as a whole, and how those messages and how those strategies might differ in the way you think about social media and communications?
Yeah, sounds good. So since I have a microphone on and I can look at the camera, I'll repeat the question. And that was, how is what Knife River is doing as a concrete producer and trying to market Knife River, how is that parallel? How is it different? How is it aligned with what the concrete industry as a whole is doing to market itself? And really it is a parallel track. So if I could go back to the first thing that I was talking about, we're not specifically out there trying to sell somebody a concrete driveway. We're not saying, hey, local subdivision, we want to provide all of your foundations. We're selling ourselves and our brand. And I think that that's something that the NRMCA is doing as well. We're selling build with strength. You should utilize concrete. We're not telling you go out and do this project, that project, but when you're doing your projects, you can't do it any better than using concrete. And so that's an NRMCA message. Similar message for Knife River is, hey, when it comes to what you're doing, you need help, we're here for you. We're part of the community. When it's time for your project, you know who you want to call to work with.
Another question for you, you can repeat the question since you've got the mic. How can NRMCA better support Knife River and other producers around the country with the work that we're doing so that you can be better at what you're doing?
Yeah, so how can NRMCA help its members in the work that we're doing to help promote our brand? Well, I think that you've got a really good start with, you guys are very active on social. You've got some really good hashtag campaigns. I mean, back to having really strong campaigns, whether it's Build with Strength or Pave Ahead. I think those are fantastic. But the social media task force is a really, really good way to get involved. You're going to come up with some good ideas of your own, and then there's other members of the task force, some of whom are present here today, who have good ideas that you never would have thought of that you can steal and make your own, right? So it's a group that really works well together. We want to beat each other, and we want to be, I want way better content than Ozinga, but they're going to try to beat us too, right? But at the same time, we are all in this together to try to raise awareness about our industry and what we've got going on. So I would encourage everyone to get involved on the task force with the other member companies and share ideas. Yes, ma'am. So it flows through into the, we use a system called UKG, and so it can track. And so UKG follows two things for us that we really pay attention to. One is, where is the audience coming in from when they go to fill out an application? And so we can see where they clicked in from, and so we've got that information. And then two is sort of the old-fashioned way of doing it. It's sort of like the checkoff. So on the application itself, hey, I heard about it on the radio, but I saw you on social media is one where we can go through and go, okay, we know we got that one. Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, thank you guys.